We're joined with Miami coach Manny Diaz. Manny, thanks for joining us today. We all have something in common here. Besides all of us being incredibly good looking, we were also sports writers in college. But you were smart enough to find another line of work. Do you ever feel like you have to prove yourself to your other peers as one of the few head coaches that didn't play college football?
That shows you how good of a sports writer I was. It didn't last very long. Maybe early on, when I first got my start, ironically at Florida State, you knew you didn't have, just say, hey, I did it when I was a player and this worked for me. Of course, I played throughout high school and as a youth, but you had to know everything inside and out, and you had to have all the answers. So I do think early on in my career that gave me motivation that I couldn't just know it as well as anybody. I had to know it better.
You've been a defensive coach your entire career. I don't want you giving away any secrets now, Manny, but how would you defend a dynamic player like D'Eriq King?
Well, yeah, that's easier said than done, right? Look, anytime you're playing against a quarterback, you still have to make him one-dimensional. There are many ways to stop a passing game. Different types of coverage, different types of pressure. You can bring a lot of guys, drop a lot of guys. But if you can't stop the run, it's really, really hard because there's only so many ways you can stop a run game. So like any good offense, if you can make it one-dimensional, then you have a chance. And that really just gives you a chance.
You brought back Ed Reed, a member of Miami's 2001 national title team, also a member of the Pro and College Football Hall of Fames. What has Reed's return meant to the culture of the program?
He is like a culture coordinator. Ed he is elite in his ability to understand locker room dynamics, team dynamics, staff dynamics. And so, as a head coach, certainly as a position coach or a coordinator, sometimes you're so in the weeds of the X's and O's, you may not notice something. It may be a nonverbal of a player. And Ed doesn't miss any of that. And he picks up on it. Sometimes he'll bring that to my attention. Sometimes he can just walk over to a player and say, hey, look at how others would see you right now, standing here like this in practice, so just his ability to see the things that we as a staff that we can't see because sometimes you're so dialed into, what's actually going on in terms of the X's and O's and the effort of the team. It's been invaluable for us.
So speaking of unique dynamics, you are a Florida State graduate. You went through the heydays there in the mid-'90s with those great Florida State teams. Is it still a little odd, Manny, to be coaching for your bitter rival?
Well, growing up here in Miami as well, though, right? So I've kind of been on both sides of this rivalry in one way or another my entire life. There's a statue right down the street here, right in front of Marklight Stadium of Ron Frazier, the Wizard, college baseball coach, one of the best ever, who is a Florida State graduate as well. So it has happened. It is a little unusual. But, the one thing you realize that this job is about people. And, certainly I was around some amazing people at Florida State in the late 90s, Coach Bowden and his staff. And a lot of those people gave me my opportunity in this profession. Now I'm really going to be forever grateful to them for giving me a start off in coaching.
The turnover chain, that was such an incredible idea. That was your baby. You came up with that. Are you surprised how much it has resonated throughout all of college football, especially at Miami?
Well, we weren't the first ones to have a turnover prop, right? It just seems like we ended up with the best one. It still amazes me. Actually, I went, we had the Super Bowl here back in February when we still were, going to sporting events, and just walking around the grounds of the stadium before the game, there had to be 30,000 Niners and Chiefs fans that were wearing a chain with the team's logo on it. And you sit there, and I do think back to our defensive staff meeting one day when we were just kind of brainstorming what should be our prop, and to see how it's taken off. It's really obviously has a life of its own, and it's fun, but it is still our thing, and it is uniquely Miami.
So Miami had 4 top 5 finishes in the early 2000s. And I know this is kind of a loaded question, but how do you get back there at this point?
Respect how hard it is to get back. That it's a process. We always want to make, look, here's a good result. Miami's back, and it's not just a Miami thing. There are other programs that are similar, and And so what I like to do is I like to study other programs that have, been up, come down, and then maybe are on the rise again. And it's not complicated. Number one, it starts with the people. You've got to recruit great, not just from a talent standpoint, but the mentality of the people that you bring into the program. We have a better group of people in our program this year. And when I say better, I mean in terms of the understanding the culture we want to build than we had a year ago. We have to continue to recruit at a high level, and we've got to get as good of a staff as we possibly can to coach the guys and develop them when they come on campus. And we wish there were secrets to success. There really aren't. It sometimes takes time and a lot of hard work.
Thanks, Manny. Good luck this week. We appreciate it.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me on.